We are officially in on an IG Live that is, by Michelle, that is Show Business Scenarios, which means you get to ask me anything you want. And we're starting out with, yes, Tony, and that's why I don't want to put deep fake. Not debating that. AI having an impact on the human actor marketplace, 100%. But we can also say the same thing about motion capture. So performance capture, motion capture is also a way for technology to allow companies, especially in commercials. And let me go you one further, Tony, where this is really going to come into play, where it's been coming into play for the last 6 years. I can share with you that in SAG-AFTRA conversations on the inside of headquarters and the inside of that building, the conversation of AI is 6 to 9 years old. It's not new. One of the big areas, Tony, where this is, and you're not going to be able to stop them. So the answer to your question is, you're not stopping them. It's not going to happen. There's no way. AI is AI. AI is going to start replacing background actors. You can count on it. Or at least background scenes, especially when they're large. Remember, we have to remember that back in the day, all the way through the history, especially in film, the history of film, we have been able to shoot period pieces and certain kinds of scenes with crowds and such, and or historical buildings and locations that weren't actually for real. We literally had matte painting painters who painted that landscape, and we overlaid it digital technology into a film. Digital technology has advanced. We now can do those things much easier, CGI, etc. But we're now in the place where AI is so advanced that you have the option to do AI and replace, and or you also have the option with CGI. Now, I will try to address what I think is a piece of your question, Tony, which would be this. Rather than saying deep fake, let's not do that. Let's just say an artificial intelligence rendering of a real human being. Because I have to be careful, Tony, in making sure I split the difference between the ability to simply place a human, any human, into the filmmaking process, whether that's for film or television, into the motion picture, moving picture business, just placing an AI human versus an actual AI version of a real human. Those are two different things. So I have to be careful about that deep fake phrase and anything that I put out. Because as we know, a deep fake is somebody conjuring a human and presenting them throughout social media as a real human being when they're not, and or actually creating some sort of a imagery or real life thing that is a real human being, and it actually isn't them. It's just some AI rendering of them, aka deep fake. So those are two different things versus just the technology of AI being able to much easier today and going forward to simply replace a human being on set. Think of it as a two-shot, everybody. Down, hey, I don't want to say it wrong, Nabila, great you're here. Mickey, welcome back in, awesome. So I want to make sure I say it like this, Tony. We'll put it like this. In terms of deepfake AI, replacement of actors, or just AI replacement of actors. Let's look at it like this. So you're shooting a shot right kind of at a small angle down a bar, okay? But the two people sitting at the bar, you shoot it in such a way you still can see both of their faces. And back behind them, in the background, if we rack focus, not way in the background, but if we just rack focus, they would be maybe 6, 8, 10 feet down the bar. And we happen to be at a corner. And so one person is sitting at an angle, the other person is facing the camera. So technically, if we racked focus, we could see both of their faces. I'm going to use as an example to be able to answer your question about deepfake AI and also AI in terms of replacing actual human beings. The difference would be the following. Up until this point, and will probably end soon, The two actors, if they had no lines and we were never going to rack focus to them, they obviously are people who are background. Those two actors can easily and will be very much in the future replaced by people who are AI. Can't do it. That's not motion capture. It's not performance capture. They're going to get replaced by AI. Now, I'm going to address both of what you said, Tony, in just a second in terms of stopping them. Okay. The second would be, let's pretend a producer decides to take a medium well-known actor who's not in their film and decides to take in one of the two foreground actors who are talking, and you decide to take a deep fake AI of a real actor or human being unbeknownst to them and stick them in there. That's a very different conversation, and that's where the phraseology deep fake is used. Now, if you want to talk about both of those people, both of those principals who are talking, being actually deep, meaning they are actually fake, they're actually artificial intelligence, they're not real actors, and replacing them so that it's not animation, it's not performer capture. We actually think they're two human beings sitting at the bar because AI becomes so good and we can have them sitting there as opposed to two actual human beings. That's a whole different subject. And the bottom line is you aren't going to stop any of the above. Ever. You're not going to, hey, Donnie, you're not going to be able to stop any of those. Hey, Joey, you can't stop any of those, Tony. Technology is technology. Technological advancements are technological advancements. Lawsuits with regards to actually deep faking someone's image and likeness would be no different than any other defamation of character, unfair trade act, and or libel or copyright infringement. Any of those things apply to any of that. But if we think that we're going to stop AI and technology from slowly replacing humans in film and television, moving pictures, we aren't. What we can do is the following, and this is what I talked to SAG-AFTRA about doing. What we can do is this. We can certainly, with regards to our voice, Tony, what I'm trying to push people, because the idea of getting paid for a session fee is going away, because there is no doubt that we are already in the place where, Joey knows this, Tony, you probably know this, where we can take 10 seconds of someone's voice. Just go look at Mission Impossible 3, Mission Impossible 2, Mission Impossible 1. Just go look at, hey, Will, go look at any movie in which they've done the voice correction and the voice copying machine. So what I'm trying to get SAG-AFTRA to negotiate is that when you use 10 seconds of someone's voice, any human being at all, Morgan Freeman, anyone, and then you use that to generate actual dialogue and copy so someone doesn't have to actually record a voice over, that would be just like a session fee. So you can turn what I like to metaphorically call AI stem cell technology for your voice, you just turn it into a session. You still have contractual contract money made for actually utilizing someone's voice without them having to come into a studio. And actually, if it's you, how great would that be? Because you could basically negotiate the usage of my archived voice and you pay me for it and I never have to do anything. So that is 100% something that we contractually are moving towards without a doubt. So that once you have someone's voice recorded, pay them to use it. No different than any other form of residual, but this would be an initial, what we use language-wise, SAG-wise, contract-wise, this would be initial compensation that you would be being used for your voice. Now, being able to use someone's face, likeness, image for AI, that's a different conversation, but the truth of the matter is, Tony, the conversation's the same. Technology is technology. How we choose to grab it within our work contracts and put it into our CBA, our Codified Basic Agreement, that's a different conversation. People trying to steal images or improperly use without permission images, with all respect, Tony, is no different than Napster or anything else in the history of, DKNY fake purses being sold in a marketplace someplace in Europe. It's no different. So it doesn't really change. It's a matter, to your initial question, what SAG-AFTRA is going to do to make sure that we are initially compensated properly for whatever our image, likeness, and or voice is used for and or generated from. And that's a long answer, but I purposefully wanted to spend a long time on it because just saying deepfake AI jobs is taking from act. That's too limited. It's much more nuanced and much more layered than that. Okay, now guys, that was like 10.5 minutes of an answer. Somebody need to bring forth me a question. Come on, this is showbiz scenario. Will somebody? I'm glad you're fighting for us. Well, with all respect, Joey, I appreciate it, but I'm fighting without a gun because I don't run the union. So unfortunately, I'm very limited in what I can do, but I certainly understand what the challenges and problems are. Okay, somebody type in a showbiz scenario, an actor issue, something you got going on. Come on. I don't want too much dead time. I want to be able to utilize you guys being here. Somebody got to have something going on. Anything, doesn't matter. There are no bad scenarios as an actor. Anything you're challenged with, anything that you're frustrated by, anything you just want a confirming thought on, makes no difference to me. Actors' allergies to most makeup. Christina, I'm going to need you to qualify that a little bit. Do you mean the union's sensitivity to that problem, or how to handle it when you're on set? So take a moment and think of that. Let me look at Nabila's. Should I join SAG if I'm SAG-E to compete with the best? Okay, I'll try and do this in less than 5 minutes, Nabila, but here's the thing. Okay, hold up. Everybody stop now. That's good. Thanks, Will. I'll get both you and Christina. So I'm on Nabila's. Now here's the thing, Nabila. I'm going to presume, unless you tell me otherwise, that you're in Los Angeles. So if you're in Los Angeles, what I'm going to share with you, since you don't know me and I don't know you, I always have to qualify things. When you say compete against the best, I won't go down the road of the word compete, but I will say this. I was always someone, this is just my philosophy, Nabila, you don't have to follow it. But here's the issue with SAG eligible. I know that that's a status that somebody has earned, and I know that it's just on the precipice of being SAG-AFTRA. I get it, being full union. However, there is a process to being SAG eligible. Your paperwork and your payment is not finished, okay? So a Station 19 check is going to, we know that, and so here's part of the problem, Nabila. If you go in for a union job, which you obviously can, and you go in at a callback at 5 o'clock in the afternoon and you have to be on set at 6 o'clock in the morning, sometimes the challenge will be that that will eventually turn you into a must join. You can't just keep doing union jobs and remain SAG eligible. That's not allowed. You may have earned SAG eligible with vouchers, but if you've actually worked as a principal and you're a must join, which means you wouldn't be able to do that job, they wouldn't be able to process the paperwork. I'm going to share with you that the question you ask is a very personal and very individual choice. It is. I will also tell you, as a longtime professional, that I have no interest, never had an interest, and eventually if you feel like you've gotten your legs under you, you really understand how the business works, you very much want to be viewed as a working professional, then at some point, whether you're eligible or not, yes, I would recommend that you actually finally join full SAG-AFTRA. Remember, this profession does not promise you a job. This is my problem with people going FICOR. I just want to work is not an excuse for going FICOR, in my opinion. So going SAG-AFTRA and then realizing that that limits you and you no longer audition for non-union work, that's the decision. Yeah, I never worried about auditioning for non-union work, whether it was 3 decades ago or yesterday, because I didn't come to this city to do non-union work for me. So it's a personal choice, but if you've been eligible for a while, 6 months, a year, maybe you've done some stuff, you have a little bit of a demo reel, I do agree at some point, yes, you need to, in my opinion, for your own psychology, rather than compete about the best against the best, I would just share with you that it is a chapter in my book, the book you see behind me, this book right here, and it's a chapter I call To Be a Professional, and that's what I call it. So there you go. Now, Christina, going back to you, how you handle it on set. All you can do with makeup and allergies on set is to make sure, and I would say this, Christina, to protect yourself, is you have to do as much, if you can find, you can even go to the local hair and makeup union, and you can find out for them what type of makeup commonly most hair and makeup people use for base and stuff like that. But you just have to be exceptionally communicative, and I would tell you this. I would tell you, if you're able to type out what your allergies are to what in a very short piece of paper, I literally, as a professional, would just have myself an index card that had the explanation of your allergies on it that you could just hand the person. I wouldn't put myself through having to verbalize this every single time I was on freaking set. Nabila, make sure you go to my YouTube channel and subscribe to at the Kevin E. That's what I wouldn't do. But yes, all you can do is communicate with it on set. That's all you can do. And also, always make sure you have some, oh, okay, well, there you go. And also when you go, you can make sure you have your own. And if this winds up, so you have a lot of experience. So having some of your own makeup sometimes could be that. A production may not allow you to apply it yourself, but if you have a little bit of your own, just a little, because it's expensive, maybe they can also wind up putting it on themselves as well. So that's how I would handle it if I had hair and makeup, if I had makeup allergies. Okay, hang on. All right, I got Nabila. Hey, Will. Okay, here we go. Boom, love it. Love the fact y'all got shit today. I'm going to do at least one of these every single week, so come on. Is there anything that I should expect when following up with a producer/industry I met at an event? Okay, well, definitely never expect anything from a human being you ever met, for sure. However, since I wasn't there, Will, and I don't know exactly what occurred, the biggest thing I can tell you is expectation should come from where were you? How did you wind up at that event? Like, what was your purpose or reason for being there? How did you get introduced to or wind up in a conversation with this producer? And then, of course, what was the content of the conversation? You have to assess those things, and you have to, no different than I always say, it's why I use dating analogies, man, like hitting on somebody. You have to assess how that started, middle, and ended. And when you walked away, did they give you your card? Did you ask for their card? Was there an exchange? Was it just nice meeting you? Did you ask for anything? Not that you should or shouldn't. I'm just saying, did you? So if you're talking purely, we'll just take the positives out of all of that, and you somehow have their email address or something, and they said it was okay to reach out to them, or that wasn't discussed, but you know how to find their email address, genuinely, your follow-up from someone should just simply be nothing more than, I just wanted to once again thank you for the conversation time we had at blah, 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 place, event, thing, whatever it was. Send that within 72 hours. And then that person's now a part of your master contact list, Will. And so expecting something in return from that exchange, from that follow-up, no. But that's someone that you should always be every 8, 12 weeks, 3-4 times a year, popping them a note with something other than, if nothing else, than to just wish them a happy July 4th weekend or have a great holiday season. Biggest mistake actors make is thinking that they can only reach out to an industry professional to remind them that we're here and we're breathing just because you have something to say about your career. That is horseshit. It's bullshit. It's a lie. It's not true. And it's been, I think, personally an excuse for actors to not do anything the entire time I've been in this profession. There's nothing wrong with someone you had a nice brief conversation with. It's an industry human being first, industry person way down there, like sixth in life. There's nothing wrong with wishing somebody a happy holiday season. Nothing wrong with it. So, no, I would not ever expect anything from a, hey, great to meet you note of any kind post-meeting somebody. But it is something you should send 1,000% for sure. Now, down to Joey's. Are headshots needed in 2022, physical copies, that is, or are headshots only JPEGs now? I know of people who still continue to get headshots printed, Joey. Once again, similar to, I would certainly say we're down to 95.5, where the answer is 95% of the time no, but I am not allowed to tell somebody that they don't have to have a printed 8x10. I'm not allowed to say that, because some representative may want you to have one. you yourself, the actor, may feel more comfortable with them. But I would say this. I do think that we're at a place in our lives where you can probably find, using the internet, you can probably find somewhere that can print a nice rendering of your headshot, and maybe have 5 or 6 or 7 of them, of 3 or 4 different ones at home, without necessarily having to go order 100 or more from a standard printing place. I do think if you feel the need to have a few, I don't think they're requested very often, so you would be able to reprint them fairly easily, but I do think you probably only need a handful for a few looks, would be my general thought to that, at least in terms of how I function. I haven't printed a headshot in a long time. All right, I'm going to go down. Met through a friend, and he did hand me a card. Cool. Well, then basically, hey, Jordan, welcome in. Basically, Will, yeah, you have the full go sign there. Sorry, I had to go backwards, and then I came down to your comment. You have carte blanche to send a thank you, great to meet you, and I wouldn't expect anything from it. What you want to try and do with someone like that's a legitimate industry person, that you actually had a familiar connection, create the connection between the two of you, is just build the association. It goes back to my entire thing that I spoke on at SAG-AFTRA, is, building your spider web. You just got to follow them on social media, make an intelligent comment or two here and there over the course of time, send them another note, and then one day when the person responds favorably in some way, just say, hey, listen, is there any way that I can meet you for 15, 20 minutes for a coffee? Don't ask for more than that. And always offer to go meet them near their office, if they even go to an office anymore, or at least meet them near where they live. Always make it easy on people to help you. You're in the lesser position, so you have to make it easier on them to help you. Well, welcome in, Shoot. Good to see you. So, guys, we're running into, let's say, the last 5-6 minutes. So somebody type me a question, somebody type me a scenario, somebody type me a conundrum, a problem. I definitely would love to get a couple more in before we're done with the 30 minutes. Please, please, please. Please, mister, please. Sorry, not going to sing. I have a sore throat. Not going to happen. But somebody type in a scenario for me. I think sometimes my phone's a little slow with them coming in. I don't really know why. I have a good connection, so it doesn't make any sense. But if anybody has anything, make sure you drop it in, for the couple of folks, Jordan and Shoot Meineke, who just came in, make sure that you go and watch this on IG when I post it after this is over. It'll stay on the grid for about a week, and then I take them off. But I move them over to my YouTube channel. So go to @TheKevin on YouTube and subscribe there. But come on, guys. You got 5, 6, 7 of you here. Somebody asked me any kind of a question that's going on with you, the industry, representatives, anything out of all the 100-some subjects we could cover about this profession. Somebody hit me with a question. And if for some reason you already have, for whatever reason, it just isn't coming through yet. It will, hopefully, shortly. Somebody once told me. I have no idea where that came from, but shit just goes through my brain. And please remember, guys, that there are about close to 400 videos on the YouTube channel at this point. There will be hundreds more as time goes by, along with the fact, okay, are multicam sitcoms still being filmed in LA? Yeah, probably not too many 4-camera. Probably some 3, but Nabila, good question, not that many. It does happen, but not that many. But they're out there. There are. It probably won't be 4-camera like the old days, like Golden Girls or Friends or some of that, but they're still there, here and there. They're not as common, though, that's for sure. Nudity is more common. Ooh, Tony, got it. Can you narrow that down for me, bruh? Nudity is more common than what? More common in shooting than it used to be? More common in television? More common in film? Can you help me out some, Tony, with that? A little bit? Can you just give me a little wrinkle to the more common. Certainly, we have intimacy coordinators now, and sexual harassment is something we've gotten codified into our theatrical agreement. I was a part of that negotiation 3 years ago. Do you recommend? Oh. That's a whole different Oprah. Well, that question, Tony, is going to definitely take up the next 5 minutes, and that will be the last one for today. So I'll say have a great weekend now. Do I recommend taking a job if it is required? So, first of all, nobody wants to see me naked. And yet, I have been in 3 love scenes that involved me almost being naked. You're welcome to be there. Very nice to meet you, CyberWise, and go to your next appointment and tell all your friends and get them here when I do this. And in addition to that, I've even been even frontally nude without it being seen on camera, thank God. But nonetheless, you still have to shoot it in front of people. So the first thing I'm going to say to you, Tony, is there are 2 different things about nudity. One is what you experience on the set being nude, and then what you experience when that material is out for the world or people you don't know to see. And I think I'm very close to saying I would say that 98 to 99.5 of any of these successful women who were ingenues before they were leading ladies, younger 20s to adult, at some point probably have been in some way close to topless or thereabout. That does not mean you should do it. I'm just making a statement. Anyone who is a character actress based on a project, once you're over the age of 30 or 35, it probably is never going to be something you have to face. The idea of whether or not you should or shouldn't do it is one I think that we've heard a zillion times. Number one, you'd have to feel like that there was real value in the purpose for the character and for you of doing it, because it is. I mean, I can reference Westworld. Westworld is the most recent item in moving picture Hollywood history that had so much nudity in it that it was absurd, especially background nudity, because of all the people, human beings, standing in cold storage as background naked people getting paid. On top of Thandie Newton and everybody else, even some of the men in that movie, who in that television show, which is on cable, which is HBO, who were naked. That's a decision you have to make. I can't tell anybody whether they should or should not do that. What I am telling you is no different than what you just heard me say earlier today when I talked about doing theater. You have to do it because you feel good about it. Treatment on set has to be completely different and separate from the professional decision to have your physical naked body filmed. You can put in clauses and agreements that the final edit will not contain anything below the belly button. If you're a man, you can have full frontal taken out. All of these things are part of a negotiation to do, but to understand in the world that we live in digital technology, you can ask for closed sets, turn off Video Village. There's a zillion things. All of this just got hammered out between Canada's sexual harassment and nudity provisions, and also the U.S.'s SAG-AFTRA nudity and sexual harassment provisions. But you basically have to bake your own cake. But your question, Tony, really goes to, do you even really want to discuss the cake? And at the end of the day, that's going to have to be a personal and professional decision with yourself, perhaps a spouse, family member, your God, or whatever it may be, because there's nothing wrong with nudity in entertainment and art. Nothing wrong with it. Is it commonly abused? Yes. Is it commonly unnecessary? Yes. Is it commonly creepy? Yes. Does that mean it doesn't happen all the time? No, it does. So this is why you have to at least consider all of the factors and then make as many specifics as you can in the context of your contract, which can just simply be an addendum or a rider. And then if someone breaches that, get a really, really good attorney who wants to work for free and sue the shit out of them. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to your choice. And if you have a representative, they should be helping you with that negotiation. And there we go. And with that said, guys, that's going to bring us to the end of a Friday, and that's going to bring us to the end of The Actor Overcomes show business scenarios. And I love freaking doing this. But thanks for being here. Again, tell all your friends. Go to the YouTube channel, The Kevin E, and subscribe. You guys Have an awesome weekend. Thanks. Bye.